Hello, everybody. Thank you all for zooming in to join Catherine and I today at the start of Children's Hospice Week. I was going to start, before I asked all of you to share your experiences, by describing what I felt like when I first went to visit a children's hospice, Helen and Douglas House, as it was then, Helen House. I think it was about 13 years ago. And I have to admit, I was filled with a certain amount of trepidation because I wasn't sure what I was going to find. When I arrived, I was totally amazed by what I found, the feeling of warmth and laughter and happiness. And since then, I've obviously visited Children's Hospice South West, and whatever hospice, children's hospice I've been to, I've felt that same warmth and laughter. And obviously the nurses and the carers who look after these children are the most wonderful people. And they just sort of inspire happiness. It's an uplifting experience, isn't it, going in, which was the opposite to what I thought it was going to be.
Obviously, I'm a massive fan of the work that the staff do, and the fact that, you know, families are able to live as close to their home environment as they possibly can in what is really difficult circumstances is extraordinary. And it's a credit to the staff, really, that can provide the environment to help them go through, whether it's long-term care or short-term care. It's really awe-inspiring. How is everything at the moment going for you within, you know, with the pandemic and everything like that? Has it put lots of extra challenges on the service that you provide for your families?
Absolutely. It means that we've had to be very agile on our feet in terms of responding to the changing needs of families. Obviously, most of our families are shielding very vulnerable people, young people, and not wanting many of them to venture from their homes. So we've had to turn our family-based respite model into something else. We're still open for emergency and end-of-life care, but we're working in the community, which is something we haven't done before, which is being very welcomed, and it's been enormously successful. And it won't surprise you to know that we're working virtually as well. So it's been a very interesting experience.
And Claire, perhaps you at Helen House would like to tell us a bit about how you're getting on there.
Our doctors have never done as many outreach visits, and nor have our team. So a different way of working and holding situations in the community which are much more complex than we would have dared to before. Some of our families just don't want to come out of their homes, so actually it's about putting them first and how we can look after them. So all our staff are now wearing fun scrubs, and they look quite very, very kind of child friendly, and PPE. So trying to think of different ways of adapting our service that we can be safe but yet responsive.
Change is always difficult, and there's always a range of adaptation to change. But I think the very fact that they're able to provide what they can to families in these straitened circumstances lifts morale, and it gives a real sense of purpose.
How easy is it for other families to connect to each other at the moment and to share that same network that they perhaps had before?
It's really hard, actually. So normally if we had a new family, they'd come in and there'd be another family in. And at the moment, they're having to kind of do that almost from a distance. A little boy that died on Saturday, we were able to have his grandparents not in the building, but in the garden, and the weather's been good. So it's looking in ingenious ways of how we can help that to happen.
Eddie, do you think you could tell us all about your experience with children's hospices?
It was to Helen House in Oxford that my late wife and I and our two children, as they were then, went to receive the enormously valuable and loving care that we experienced there from 1984 until 1995. And our eldest daughter died there. And it was that place that you've both described. It was a place of wonderment, really, of people doing their utmost to care for your child as you wanted them cared for. and the utmost attention to detail and loving care just scooped us up. And Kate, our eldest child, died at Helen House in 91, and our son Tom died at home in 1995. And in 1991, we set up Children's Hospice Southwest. And so what we can say this afternoon, I think, is that Helen House really inspired the whole of the children's hospice movement. There are now over 50 organisations in the country providing the very special care which has been described. So absolutely brilliant.
How are you all doing as a family, Carla, obviously, and Stuart? It hasn't been, a huge length of time since you lost your son.
Up and down days. I think we found it extremely hard through this lockdown, not being able to have our family and our friends, because it's not the same doing it via Zoom call in.
How was the support that you received from each at the time?
They are just such amazing people. They really are. The care was amazing, not just towards Fraser, making sure he was comfortable, but our well-being was met. We had a cooked meal provided every day. Stuart and Stuie were able to stay in the flat upstairs while I stayed in Fraser's room with him. The memories we made, we had Father Christmas visit. We also renewed our wedding vows because Fraser had always looked at our wedding pictures and asked where he was in those. And it was our 10th year in July, so we decided actually let's do it and renew our vows. And if you'd seen the change in the care floor that those staff had done in 48 hours, it didn't look like a care floor. It was amazing. It really was.
Children's hospices go that extra mile actually and support families like yourselves. I think is extraordinary, and they, like you say, they consider the whole family as well, which is really important. But I hear you've been doing lots of fundraising, which has been amazing.
Well, I did do 5k every day in May.
Who inspired you to start running 5k every day?
Captain Tom did.
Oh, Captain Tom. Captain Tom has done a lot for this country, hasn't he? He's inspired so many people. You must be very fit, Stuie. We'd like to thank everybody who works for hospices across the UK for the incredible job you do and allowing families to treasure their moments together. I think that's so important, and it's entirely due to all of you that it's able to happen. And thank you so much for coming on. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye.